take Mounjaro in the morning or at night and take Zepbound in the morning or at night? Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have been on Mounjaro and Zepbound over the last 2 years, losing over 103 pounds. The combination of being on Mounjaro, Tirzepatide, and tirzepatide compound was because of the shortages. So I got a lot of experience, strength, and hope in this. And by the way, Mounjaro and Zepbound are same thing, 2 different FDA approvals though. And when I started 2 years ago, there was no such thing as Zepbound. So let's dive in. I want to talk about my experience, strength, and hope. This is not medical advice. Hopefully encouragement for you, and also now running a free group, which I'll link down below in the description, as is all of my free resources I'm going to be talking about on today's video to help encourage you and then hopefully help spark the conversation to talk to your own healthcare provider, because I'm not a healthcare provider. I have no medical training, but I do have a lot of experience, strength, and hope in this. So click the ... more button and you can see all of the free goodies down below. The first thing I want to talk about is my free side effects tracker. This is going to be kind of the basis in which I'm going to go through is a tracked number grows. And my data is probably going to be different than your data, but I'm going to give you examples from my experience that will hopefully help spark you to be like, oh, here on my journey, if you're just starting your journey, or if you haven't even gotten GLP-1 medication and you're just doing research, welcome, 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 by the way. But this free resource, it's on countessofshopping.com. It's also in the description. Click that hyperlink, the ... more button. It will pull up this direct link. And then also my Zepbound checklist and Mounjaro checklist before you take your shot, your first one, or if you titrate up. It had some things that really helped me that hopefully will help you, that maybe even your healthcare professional may not have thought about. But going through taking Mounjaro in morning or night, or Zepbound morning or night, for me, I reverse engineer it. I go back with the data, which is why that data of having this information for you is so important, because my data very well may be different. I have different medical conditions than you. My age may be different than yours, and my household too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also my preferences. In addition, your preferences may be different. So I typically reverse engineering. When do I feel my shot first? I typically feel my shot within 12 hours. I will feel it. I'm like, oh, that's the sweet stuff. Now, if you don't feel that, say on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams or Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, it may mean you simply just need a higher dose, and that you're on that for the first month, the first 4 weeks, and then the 5th week, you've taught your healthcare provider to titrate up to Zepbound 5 milligrams or Mounjaro 5 milligrams. I typically feel it, with all things equal, within 12 hours. And so knowing that, then my next question is, okay, well, when is my peak? When do I really, really feel the medication? Because that's going to dictate taking Mounjaro in the morning or at night, or Zepbound in the morning at night. I feel my shot at 24 to 36 hours after taking my medication. So for example, just for easy math, I took it on Monday at 8 a.m. in the morning. I typically then would feel that on Tuesday, starting in the morning and rip and roaring through Tuesday day into the evening. That for me, and then going into, that's 24 hours and then the 36 hours into it of like Tuesday at 8 p.m. is really, I'm feeling it there. I am not as hungry and feeling it. My next question for you to pick out what makes the best preference for you, but how do I track this, by the way? Through that free tracker, is data of literally you taking your first shot. It may just be you throwing a dart into the wall of like, okay, this makes the best sense because of the timing of when to give the injection, because it's quiet or my kids aren't around or my hot husband is not trying to yap to me. And I took my first injection. My hands were so sweaty. It was like an Eminem rap song. I was like, my hands are sweaty, knee deep, arms are ready. Like that, literally, I've been on the Oprah show, Good Morning America. I've done live streaming shows with Pinterest and Amazon Live in front of literally millions of people. And so that doesn't make me nervous, but the shot, I was like, shaking. My knees are clickety-clack shaking. If you're nervous, it's totally normal taking that. But that also factored in as to when I took my shot. When was I gonna not bothered, but you know what I mean. Having interruptions is a better way to say that. So if I know I might have my peak time, that's also helped me kind of reverse engineer these different pieces and different parts of it. Is, do I wanna have side effects? Because we know that there's 4 gastrointestinal ones that are typical: diarrhea, constipation, nausea, or vomiting. Super typical. Do I wanna have my side effects at work or at home? I can help minimize those through some food choices for me, and I've done whole other videos. Make sure you click that like and subscribe so you can go see those videos. But picking, do I want to have my side effects from work or home, also has helped to dictate and reverse engineer backwards the peak time, right? So on Monday, going back to my example, on Monday at 8 a.m. when I'm taking that shot, I'm going to feel that between Monday at 8 a.m. Through the evening, Tuesday at 8 a.m. through Tuesday at 8 p.m. is my peak time of really where I'm feeling it. That Tuesday is my jam, right? And so I'm going to be feeling that because that's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Typically, that's going to be more at work, right? And so for me, going back over to my side effects, super, super important in reverse engineering that with it. Now, one of the best things I did when I first started with my side effects was taking LMNT electrolytes. I literally bought these 2 years ago because I knew diarrhea, nausea, constipation, vomiting. When I started taking Mounjaro, I wanted to mitigate those. And if I had blowout diarrhea, I was going to need some sort of electrolyte to help me with that, magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And the reverse, if I was having constipation, that magnesium was going to be very helpful. I take these always on day 0, 1, and 2, but now because of the side effect component. But now I literally take them every day because I like them. Now there's stick format, or there's now cans. They have sparkling cans, which I love. If you have an on-the-go lifestyle like I do, popping one of the LMNT sparkling electrolyte cans. Oh my gosh, 5 calories for this whole can. I frequently don't finish the whole can, by the way. It's so much, which is amazing. It's not caffeinated. There's no caffeine in it, so you can have it at night. It's 16 ounces, and they have a bunch of different flavors. My personal favorite flavor is the black cherry lime. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I've made virgin daiquiris out of their citrus lime one. They're really, really good, but it helps with the side effects. I'll link down below. LMNT's been super, super gracious to give the Countess of Shopping community 8 free sticks with any purchase when you go to drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. Get 8 free sticks with any purchase. Now, for my Mounjaro friends, if you do have maltodextrin challenges, there can be some in the sticks. There's none in the unflavored ones, and there's none in the cans as well. Like I said, with the cans, I don't have to mix it with any water. I typically, with my sticks, I'm currently on a hyperfixation with the orange stick right now. And again, the side effects, I think this is so important to figure out for you of having them at work or at home. And just because you plan it, sometimes, what's that saying? You plan and God laughs. Just because you plan this, it may not be the way that it works out that way. But having my LMNT electrolyte stick, I typically have mine after breakfast and on shot days. And if I was just starting. Now I have them literally like when I wake up first thing, I have a third, a third, a third. I'll have a third of the stick and I'll put it in a 40-ounce tumbler. Right after that, I'll have another third of the stick and put it in a 30-ounce or 40-ounce tumbler, excuse me, and then the final third of the stick in a 40-ounce tumbler. And I like to do that before like noon. Usually it's 1 or 2 though. But so I know I've got my water in. I've had, what is that, 120 ounces of water. Wow. It's so filling too, and that helps to counter the side effects of diarrhea, nausea, constipation. Very, very helpful with the magnesium, potassium, and sodium with LMNT electrolytes. So highly recommend figuring this out. And again, you're gonna need to know your data with that side effects, my free side effects tracker on countessofshopping.com. Knowing that is gonna help you figure out where it's better. So going back to my Monday at 8 a.m., what if I took my shot at Monday at 8 p.m.? Then that would switch for me some of my times. If I took my shot at Monday at 8 p.m., then I would more so feel that on Tuesday at 8 p.m. into Wednesday at 8 a.m. What am I doing between 8 p.m. through 8 a.m.? Sleeping. And so for me, whenever I titrated up a dose or my first dose, I typically took it in nighttime. That was very helpful for me to kind of move things around. One of the best things that I did with my doctor's blessing, my healthcare provider's blessing, I'm not a healthcare provider, was shift my time of day during my shot. I had my healthcare provider's blessing during the day to move that around. Typically what I would encourage for me was I took it at the same time for the first few weeks so I had some data to track. So that wasn't a random variable for me. Excuse me, there's so many random variables. And so I knew if I was taking it not in the morning, I ended up actually moving my shot to 2 or 3 I found for months, even for like the first year actually. It was at 2 or 3 p.m. A, because my family wasn't around and I could be quiet and just do my injection really easily. But B, reverse engineering the time, that time worked really well for my schedule. I had that and I kept that consistent and I was able to track that. So my encouragement would be, don't switch the time around. For me, I'll use my I statements. I didn't switch the time around the first few weeks so I could have some consistency, because there are so many variables. The food that I'm eating, is that causing blowout diarrhea? Or is it just the shot? You know what I mean? And so moving my time, I didn't want to make that one of the variables with this, because there is so much we don't know and so much we do know, but also figuring out for you, there's not that much concrete data in terms of timing other than we're different. What we eat is different. And also maybe you're a nurse, maybe you work night shifts. Whereas I'm, a mom, I wake up at 7 a.m., 6:45 a.m. to get my kid off to school, right? And so depending on what your schedule needs are, when you have to be most active and productive, that was one of my other big things, was with this peak time frame, is when I was having peak time frame, do I have other work commitments that I have to do? Like, is that going to impede if I've signed up for a major contract, or I'm having a photo shoot in a couple of weeks, major photo shoot going to be happening. There's people coming to set. We're going to a beautiful mansion. It's like a $3.5 million home mansion. It's this whole thing. And so figuring out my shot time with that, it was why I did not schedule this photo shoot near my injection time. Why? Because I know peak time for me, still 2 years after this, I still get very tired. 24 to 36 hours. Now my family knows now, because we've done this over 100 shots now. I've had over 100 injections, and the pattern recognition of it. My family knows mom's going to be down for that. I'm going to take more naps. I'm going to be in my bed. I'm probably going to be in my pajamas, which is why I didn't schedule this major photo shoot that I'm doing during that. I was like, no, we got to push it back until it was after. I think we did it on like day 3 for me. So then the shot didn't even like the fatigue, because she can't strike a pose, honey, and be fabulous if she's tired. I mean, it can, but you know what I'm saying? So in terms of my shot, with things that I can change my work commitments, I would alter that based on taking my shot in the Mounjaro in the morning or at night, or Zepbound in the morning at night. I would alter that. And like I said, I ended up finding morning and night did not actually work well for me, and that I camped out on that 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoon worked great for me for my shot and subsequently when I had side effects. I love that. It worked out very, very well for my schedule. But this is why I keep going back to having your own data, because you need to know for you, right? Or if you're going on, someone in my free group, I've got a group that's amazing, thousands of fabulous people. I'll link it down in the description link below. For some reason you've not gotten into the group, shoot me an email. I'll happily help you, because sometimes things get caught in the spam filter. There's a couple of different spam signals that it happens pretty frequently, actually. And so someone in our free group was talking about with their side effects and taking the medication and kind of adjusting with their work schedule and figuring this process out, right? I feel peak at 24 to 36 hours, but maybe you feel yours, it's not 24 hours, it's maybe more like 30 hours to like 40 hours or whatever, right? Like we have data of when there's the half-life dose, and that ends on day 5 of the shot. So day 5 of the shot for Mounjaro and Zepbound, half-life dose is on day 5. And so that's half-life of the dose on day 5. And so that's going to be day 5, day 6, day 7 are going to feel totally different than day 1 and day 2. I call it day 0, by the way. It's the day before the shot. I say that. I made that up. I have definitely not read that anywhere, because I've been saying that since 2 years ago. So day 0 is a shot for me is the day before, which is technically like day 7 of your previous shot, if that makes any sense. So when I'm saying day 0, I mean the day before. But in my mental math, that's how I kind of keep track. But on day 1 and day 2 of my injection is going to feel very different than day 6 and 7 of my injection for me. If you are having heightened side effects, you need to be in communication with your healthcare provider. And if they are not walking you through that, you need to change healthcare providers, would be my encouragement. I use Join Fridays, use the discount code QUEEN, because they're on it with the side effects. This is what they do. It's not like I worked with my primary care doctor when I first started, and they're dealing with colds, sniffles, flus, strep throat. They're not focused in on chronic obesity management, right? Like they don't know how to do all that. They can prescribe it, but the management of it, that's why I love Join Fridays, because that is their specialty, is with obesity and the obesity management of it and weight management of it. So, and talking to your healthcare provider, if you're having heightened side effects, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not having a good healthcare provider to be in conjunction with, like, oh my gosh, I'm having blowout diarrhea. Okay, let's talk about that. Is that because of other medical health conditions you've had, food choices that you've made? Like, if you've had Mexican enchiladas, would you expect, in the words of Moira Rose, my mother's enchiladas, if you've had your enchiladas and you blow out diarrhea, would you really not expect that to come? You know what I'm saying? Like with a GLP-1 medication or like fried foods, of course that is not going to settle as much. Like if you have blowout diarrhea, perhaps that was because of the bucket of fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, or sometimes it's not even their food choices. It just is the side effects of the medication, that there's nothing of the choices that you've made, that some people just have heightened side effects with them, which is why Eli Lilly, the manufacturer of Mounjaro and Zepbound, tell us and give us fair warning of those too. But if you're having those side effects, talking with your doctor, like maybe your doctor can prescribe Zopran. If you're continuously nauseous, I had a friend who was nauseous for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was unrelenting, and she took Zopran. So, but her healthcare provider had to prescribe that to her. And the person prescribing it was the one who prescribed her the medication for her GLP-1 medication. So talk to them. And if they're not good to talk to, then find somebody else. I think that part of this too is you got to find your groove with it. And then also one of the other things that's not part of this question of taking Mounjaro at night, morning or at night, one of the things I want to encourage you is, do you have a system of where your shots are? If you have other people in your household, I always share this. If you have pets, kids, seniors, neurodivergent folks, of putting your shots in a really safe place for them and for yourself. Those pens, they do have glass in them. And so it is a needle. It is an injection after all. You know what I'm saying? When we went on vacation, having my needle, I did not feel comfortable having little children have access in the fruit drawer of where they could grab an apple or they could grab a shot. You know what I'm saying? So I have, and I've recommended some other refrigeration options. They're on my Amazon shopping list. You always want to test those before using them. They're the little mini fridge. The one that I love, it's down here. Hold on. It's down. I wasn't planning on showing this, but I love this one. Test it before you put your pens in. I take my pens out of the box to put them in there. You want to test it because your pens cannot freeze. If for some reason this bad boy malfunctions, you need to test it prior to. Do not. And be like, how do you test it? I just put a thermometer in there and test it. But literally, I take it out of the box because the box. I mean, I guess you could jam it. Oh, there you go. You could jam it in like that, but I don't like jamming. I just take it out. So whatever you feel comfortable with. But when I travel, this is also easy to travel with. If I'm in a separate room away from like the kitchen communal area, in my home, if I had, say I was taking care of, some people take care of elderly parents. If I had an elderly parent with like dementia or something like that, I would put it in a little mini fridge. Again, always testing those refrigerators because these pens cannot freeze. If they freeze, you have to throw them away. And then my travel ones, I've talked about these. I've tested lower end ones and higher end ones. I've got all the different spectrums. I like the higher end one. This one is awesome. It comes with the power pack. It's way more expensive, but this thing is cool. It's so cool. It travels and it has the thermometer on there. You can use the power pack. It stays cool. It's TSA approved. You can take, I took it on I travel quite a bit for work, travels on the flight. I love this one. That is on my Amazon shopping list. I do have less expensive ones, but I like this substantially better. You could use the less expensive ones, but I have found that one worked so much better for travel. And then with the power pack, I charged my laptop with it too. Actually worked really well, and then charged my phone as well with the power pack. Like it worked really, really well having, it was the all-in-one system for that too. So I'll link that down on the description link below as well. But this has been so helpful to have those. Typically within, oh, in that one, I also shoved in my LMNT electrolyte packets too. You could add one of your, I wonder if this fits. Now I'm like, now she's got to try. Does my LMNT electrolyte can fit in my little refrigerator? Does it fit in there? Well, let's see. Does it fit the pen? Hold on. Now you want to, again, the pen is glass, so you wouldn't want to clickety-clack that around. Oh my gosh, it does fit. How cool is that? I love it. I love it. Hold on, we got to do one more. I got to, now like the curiosity, I got to put, do two fit in here? I'm going to tip it. Oops. Does it close? It closes! How cool is that? That's awesome. Okay, my friends, linked down below are all of our free options. Our emoji of the day is going to be a refrigerator. And people are like, why do you do emojis of the day? The emoji of the day, the refrigerator for today, helps me to get to know you better because I care. Seeing the pattern recognition of your name, I will learn your name better. I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. But more importantly, I really do want to know you. And with thousands of people in our community, it helps me to know you better by seeing the names pop up every day. And to your accountability question, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goal? I'm going to go walk. I've already walked 3,300 steps. I do 10 steps a day, 10K steps a day, which is 5 miles. So I got to get to stepping. I'm going to get my little walk in too. Make sure you go to drinkelement.com/queen and get those 8 free sticks with any purchase. I absolutely love, and obviously talk to your healthcare provider before taking any supplements, but gosh, I've used it for 2 years. It's made such a big difference in my Zepbound side effects and Mounjaro side effects. I highly recommend. Sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Love you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.